This one is one of my favorites to work on. A lot of fun. The model kit is breeze to put together. Gave me a lot of room for the LEDs. There's 10 in that model alone. Fiber optics as well to work the cockpit. Cockpit lights are loaded in that. That's a second generation Viper, Colonial Viper MK2 MK2 by Mobius Models. Only a couple of things about this. During the painting process, the plastic was something weird going on with the plastic, where just every time you tried to coat it was just a ripple, I primered, sanded, blah blah blah. I went through the whole process and there's nothing you can do. It just did something to the paint where it just created these anomalies. It was very strange. And the decals, very hard to deal with. I guess there are some things that you can use to soften the decal so it doesn't crack or get brittle as easily, but I find that out later. And these decals were just, as you're putting them on, just crack. Which made the decision for me to go with battle damage much easier. And I understand why they had a little seminar on battle damage in the thing. So it was kind of interesting. So you can see, and I like the way it came out with the battle damage. I'll bring it in and see if I can get in there tighter. Now I don't like just building a model and setting it on a board, or setting it, on a table on its intended stand. Tired of doing that. Now this one's still going to have a pilot, which I'm working on. I'm still doing other detail to the inside of the cockpit, but yeah, we're still working on that. You can see where I added damage for battle. It wasn't too bad, and you can see it's been worn, and most of them would have been. There weren't too many Vipers after the attack on the colonies, if you're familiar with Battlestar Galactica. Essentially, this is a representation of Starbuck sent alone to go out and check on a signal they got from Earth. Well, this was an Earth-like planet, not necessarily Earth, but it's got a sun. It's got an Earth-like planet. Next time I'm going to make it a little closer to Earth. And this one has a star, star patterns. Also, let's see, on this one I decided I was going to start getting into, framework. Actually getting some of the, doing woodwork around, what do you want to call it? I guess it's the cavity in which all the lighting and the wiring and the circuits and all that stuff goes. So, now I'm starting to get into a little woodworking and, doing miter edges around the perimeter while everything, sits in there, and you try and get it in deep as you can, A lot of artistic license taken, you have to omit a few things when building these models, because you're adding fiber optics, or you got to put a hole here because you're going to mount it now, which they provide holes if you're going to put it on their basic stand, but I just can't do that anymore. I mean, I got tired of them taking up shelf space. Well, now they're going to take up wall space, but well, there's that in that light, and I like doing the art in the back, the star, you can't really, I don't think it does it justice. You can't really see the stars from here. Let's see, I can get in closer and see if it, speckled pattern. I like the way the stars come out, like a dense pattern of stars. You just really can't tell, and those clouds are just packed with stars. So I actually started, this is the first one I added a switch to. I wanted a dual switch because I have circuit running the lights in the craft, they're going to blink. And then we have solid lights that are just going to stay on constantly within the cockpit. And then we have, you know, solid lights in the background and fiber optics. A friend of mine, when I was first, you know, putting together the other ones, he was saying something about, you know, it'd be great if these planets can glow. You know, you light them, and you know, I'm like, why not? Yeah, actually, why not? I had been thinking about it to begin with anyway. So, see, I cut down some of this light, and switch it on. Find the switch. I had some friends in here looking at this thing the other day with some of the other ones, and they're just mesmerized. I mean, I couldn't take their eyes off it. And you can see the Viper, at the moment pilotless. That's just a spectacular representation of Starbuck checking out that signal. So you've got the these blinking lights, the aircraft lights. What do they call that? Warning lights. In a second, I'll see if I can get in there and you can get a close up of the cockpit. But yeah, I might as well get it off the stand here. Maybe I can. I'm not a major, you know, photographer, obviously, but let's see if I can try and get a. You can see the tail. Ooh. The rockets have a little LEDs in them, which will also have like an afterburner effect when I put a little, you know, smoke on there. You can try and get that to look like it's leaving some trail in space as it cruises through. Let's see if I can zoom into the cockpit from here and not lose focus. Yep, you can kind of see the monitor. That's pretty cool. You can see the monitor in there, and there are fiber optics in there for the buttons and switches. And he's got one warning light in there. You can see that. Perhaps I need my glasses. That would help, wouldn't it? Well, down in there where Starbuck would sit, you can see it's got the monitor and the comm lights, and it's got a you know, buttons and switches. Now there's an inside part. Let's see, maybe can I get around on that? There's an for her right hand. There's also more fiber optics on the inside for where her right hand would go. But let's see if I can get a front angle. So there's the Viper. Fun to put together other than a couple of quirks, but it's one of my favorites. I like the way it came out. Pushed me into doing the battle damage, which really kind of helped with the little story there. I hope to make more. I'd like to get some of the classic Vipers. I've seen some of the Cylon Raiders. I'd like to get a hold of some Stargate. You know, get some the death gliders. Be great. Well, that's it for that one. I have one more. I don't know if I can. Just gonna let you look at that for a second before we go out. Well, hey, again, thank you for looking.